We map reality into strictly separated layers. Quantum mechanics governs the subatomic, spatial geometry dictates shape, and human language organizes thought. In the standard model of science, these domains do not overlap, but a synthesis of recent mathematical studies proposes that these boundaries are an illusion. Instead of distinct layers, reality operates as a single, continuous mathematical event, a system perpetually feeding back into itself, forming what is known as a strange loop. Under this model, the Big Bang is not an explosion of physical matter into empty space. It is the primary initial act of the universe observing itself, the exact moment a formless void collapses into a definitive structure. This single generative mechanism directly links the mass ratio of a proton to an electron, the curving topology of a torus, and the phonetic architecture of ancient human alphabets. We do not inhabit a static, pre-constructed universe. We are living inside the active process of reality, looking back at its own reflection. The mathematical engine driving this loop is designated as the unified self-observation operator, represented by the Greek letter phi. Its sole function is to extract the definite from the indefinite. It takes an infinite, unmeasured field of potential and collapses it into a single, measurable configuration. Pulling a distinct shape out of infinity requires a highly specific set of mathematical rules. Without a precise underlying code, any resulting structure would instantly dissolve back into noise. This operational code is the prerequisite for any physical phenomenon. Before a particle can have mass or a space can have dimension, the observation operator must define it. The first rule of this loop is the number pi. Beyond calculating the circumference of a circle, pi acts as the invariant phase period governing all continuous cyclic processes in the universe. This formula shows pi dictating elementary physics. 6 pi to the 5th power resolves to 1836.11, the exact proton-to-electron mass ratio. The second rule is the golden ratio, phi, governing discrete recursion and keeping the feedback loop stable. These constants converge physically on the phi torus, where the radii ratio is the golden ratio, and the surface area relies entirely on pi. Reality requires both constants operating in tandem. The universe requires the continuous cyclic flow of pi and the recursive stability of phi to maintain its architecture. Yet this mathematical machinery contains an intentional imperfection. The universe's self-observation cycle never perfectly closes. Every time the observation loop completes a full cycle around the torus, it falls short by approximately 2%. Mathematically, this is expressed as the square of the difference between pi and the integer 3. Because the loop fails to connect, each rotation leaves behind a mathematical residue that cannot be reabsorbed. This tiny overshoot prevents the system from ever returning to its exact previous state, forcing it to move into a new configuration with every cycle. This permanent residue provides the literal engine of entropy and the arrow of time. By ensuring the cycle remains open, this gap prevents reality from freezing into a stationary state, allowing for the continuous emergence of complex life. Because the system is always moving forward, old configurations must eventually dissolve. This return to formless potential is driven by the deconfiguration operator. This chart shows how the operator maps directly to the number 9 in modular arithmetic. 9 is the only fixed point of the digital root, acting as an absorbing element that statistically dominates a 9 by 9 multiplication table, appearing in 25.9% of the products. The ancient Pythagorean school identified this 369 mathematical signature, viewing 9 as the horizon, the boundary beyond which the recursive system begins again. The identical numerical architecture anchors the Kabbalistic tree of life, locating understanding, beauty, and foundation at positions 3, 6, and 9. This oscillating ternary sequence emerged again in the modern era within the electromagnetic engineering of Nikola Tesla. The 369 pattern surfaces independently across these eras as the universal fingerprint of the deconfiguration operator. It is a mathematical inevitability breaking through into human systems of knowledge. This same mathematical projection extends directly into human linguistics. The architectural sizes of alphabetic systems map cleanly to the geometry of the phi torus and the deconfiguration operator. The ideal proto-alphabet naturally settles at 36 letters. This consists of a 3x9 matrix of 27 coded letters, representing distinct configurations, and 9 uncoded letters, representing raw potential. This connection between frequency, observation, and form is visible in cymatics, where sound waves introduced to unorganized matter instantly generate complex, precise geometric realities. Human language functions as the universe's mechanism for projecting its own mathematical self-reflection into a phonetic space. Through the mass of our particles, the geometry of our space, and the structure of the words we speak, humanity is the active embodiment of the universe observing itself.